Hey there, welcome to the program. This is Our Healthy Homes. OurHealthyHomes.com is the website to go to. 651-775-9194. 651-775-9194. That's the number. That's the hotline. That's the one you want to call to talk to the lovely and talented Sheila, and she'll get you pointed in the right direction. Here at Our Healthy Homes, we speak on the pillars of a healthy home, which are real estate, of course, the structure, got to have a good house in a great neighborhood. The ecosystem, you got to have good stuff going on inside that house, fresh, crisp air to breathe. You talk about your body and exercise and the foods you eat and such, and your mind and spirit. All four of those pillars are needing to be in great shape or the roof comes tumbling down. So we help people make a home healthy for their family, and we do that by having conversations with experts throughout the industry in all four of these major topics. And today we've got Dr. Melissa Olson, who's a frequent guest on the program. Before we get rolling, we're going to talk about aging this week. And so before we get rolling on that, why don't you give them a little background on you and where your clinic is and how they can get a hold of you if they want you to help them.
Awesome. My name is Melissa Olson. I'm a board-certified traditional naturopath. My office is just off County Road 42 in Burnsville. I've been in practice for about the last 10 years, really helping people find answers to their health questions. The majority of my clients come from the conventional system where they're not getting the answers or the results that they're looking for. So I work very closely with doctors and other practitioners to get my clients feeling as amazing as they can.
And you can.
You can, absolutely.
Yeah, you totally can.
Okay, talking about anti-aging.
Uh-huh.
The one excuse I dislike the most, it's just a part of getting older.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, no, it's not.
No, it doesn't have to be like that. No, you're right. It doesn't.
Well, one of the things that I was looking, I love the blue zones, like talking about the blue zones.
Yes,
because there's areas
they're
of the
amazing.
world where people, there's a high population or high percentage of the population that are over centurions, or over 100 years old. And when you do look at the numbers, I'm a numbers guy, so I look at the numbers from the CDC, which, I have no love affair with the CDC,
right,
but they are collectors of data. Mm-hmm. You look at the numbers, and there seems to be a split, a dichotomy, a differentiation, a delta between people who were born in the 40s and 50s, and even some in the early 60s, and those who were born post that period.
I agree.
And the ones who were born during that 40s and 50s live longer and are healthier, more healthy, than those who were born later. Mm-hmm. And so we can debate the reason for that. We'll talk about what the reason for that is, but there are some pretty...
Chemicals and stress.
And bad food. So
chemicals.
Right, chemicals.
Yeah.
I mean, you can really boil it down to chemicals and stress.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You're eating chemicals, not food.
Correct.
Exactly. Anything. Right. The process. It's all chemicals.
Because the blue zone in Okinawa has changed. If you look at recent studies on it, they have far fewer centurions than they ever have before because the island, that little group, now has fast food.
Oh, interesting. Yep. Convenient.
Down the tube you go.
And tasty.
Down the tube you go.
Well, when I watched a documentary on the blue zones, and it was interesting to watch their lifestyle because they were just kind of following them. You know, what do you do during the day?
Yep.
They spent a great deal of time during the day preparing food, preparing their meals.
Yes.
So from butchering the chickens to to cooking it, making the pasta from hand.
Yep.
Some of them still grinding the wheat
Yep.
to make their own flour.
Growing the vegetables.
Growing the
working in
vegetables.
garden.
Yes. I mean, so it's amazing.
Milking the cows.
Right.
The aging population.
The whole deal. I mean,
right.
The aging population. There are 593,000 people in the world that are over 100 years old. The U.S., this is shocking to me.
It is shocking. I still don't believe it.
The U.S. leads the pack with 98,000 people over 100 years old, followed by Japan with 90,000, and in China is like fifth place with 54,000. Now think about that for a second.
but we have one of the largest populations, too. So, of course, we should have the largest number.
You're exactly right, but then look at, and that's the point I'm going to make, China with only 54,000 and their population is what, 3 billion people or 2
Yep.
billion, whatever it is.
Yep.
I mean, it's billions, and
Right.
they can only scratch up 54.
Right.
And then we look at China like it's the great Eastern medicine
Right.
nirvana, and they only got 54,000
Right.
people that have made it to 100. Some of that is because they die not from natural causes. They die from farming accidents. They get killed in, revolts and die in prison.
Pollution.
But
Yeah, pollution is a big part of it.
but
Chemicals.
it is a big part of it.
It is.
But
Going
then
right into their lungs.
other countries that were in the top 10, like Singapore, are smaller countries.
Right.
Smaller countries, and they have this,
Yeah, I'd mentioned Thailand.
in Thailand, have a wonderful population, over 100 years old. And they expect that, the study reports, and now this is a Boston Medical study, reports that the rate of growth of centurions has doubled over the last 20 years, and the population will exceed over a million in the U.S., or a million worldwide. It's 0.2% of the population, 85% of which are women. Interesting. Maybe you got some thoughts on that. Life expectancy calculator. I like to say this because they've got on this website now. The website is livingto100.com. Livingto100.com.
Nice.
And so they've got a calculator on there. And
Yeah.
I went to the Social Security calculator and just did that calculator just to see. It said, okay, you're going to make her to 85 years old. And that's what they base their actuarial numbers on and
Yep.
whatnot.
I'm not taking it.
I go to this calculator.
I refuse.
Yeah, you refuse.
I don't want to know.
I go to this
I'll be
calculator,
surprised.
and it's longer. Ask more detailed questions, family history questions, and the like. And there it said I'm going to make her to 97, which was a disappointment because I thought I was going to be. I want to be 110.
You're not dead yet.
Shot by a jealous husband.
You're not dead yet.
They expect a 618% growth in centurions by 2060. And in 2060, I'll be 170 years old, so I'll be a member of that group. The reason that they're doing a lot of studying on this topic is, first of all, our healthcare costs for sick care. I don't call it healthcare, it's just sick care.
It is.
So our sick care costs are going through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. spends twice as much or 4 times as much, whatever the number is, as any other country, and
Right.
we're losing the battle.
Correct.
Losing the battle.
We have worse outcomes. We spend more money.
Yes, yeah, just like education.
Right.
Spend
Yeah,
twice as
right.
much money and have kids.
All
that can't
right,
read.
let's not go down
All
that
right.
road. No, just kidding.
But the point of it is that chasing the ball down the hill, which is what sick care is, probably not a good idea.
No.
And that's demonstrated. The question is how do you make that transition? And because it isn't just a transition of the process, it's a mindset transition for an entire population.
Well, I was going to say
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
the awareness that people don't have because they're in their everyday rut of life and just going through it, and it's so many people think it's just too much work. It's too much work to clean up my house. I mean, how many times do I get that? I'd love to get rid of the 47 bottles of cleaners that I have that
But I'm used to
toxic.
them.
But
Right.
can I use them all up first?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Right, exactly. But they,
I'm going to quit drinking, but I
Right.
just want to finish this bottle of scotch first.
Same like the cigarettes, right? So, but I mean, it's like that. They think it's so overwhelming to do the switches.
Yep.
And so it's not. It's just the awareness and really people finding out the why of needing to do it. But a lot of times it doesn't happen until it hits you at home with a health injury.
So we're going to explore the topic further as we come back from break. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. Welcome back to the program. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. 651-775-9194, 651-775-9194. Dr. Melissa Olson's in the studio. We're talking about aging. So when we went out to break, we talked about, or we were just saying that it's a matter of changing so much in the country. It isn't just the process; it's the mindset of people. How would you say that would be how do you go about doing that?
How do you go about making that change?
Yeah.
You have to decide that you're either going to make time for wellness or you're going to make time for
Yes,
sickness.
Right.
Right?
That's the decision. The
Correct.
fork in the
It's
road.
a decision. It's a
the fork
decision.
in the road.
I prefer if people come in before they get sick. Let's head it off. Let's make sure your immune system is robust. Let's make sure your body has all the nutrients. Let's make sure things are functioning the way they need to function, that your brain is thinking clearly, that your body just is strong and robust, rather than waiting until you've got a breakdown and then trying to fix it.
So when someone comes in, let's just say I came in.
Yeah.
And so I come in and I said, you know something, Dr. Olson, I feel fabulous.
Right.
And I just want to stay feeling fabulous.
I love that.
What could I do to stay feeling fabulous?
Right. Right. So we would make sure that you're doing your basic things. Are you getting enough sunshine? What does that look like? What does that mean for you? Are you drinking the right kind of water, enough water? Are you taking your vitamins? Are you taking your minerals? Are you getting your exercise? Are you mentally practicing games and different things to keep yourself mentally sharp? It's more about those preventions. What is your stress level? How do you manage it? What's your diet look like? How do we make changes in that? Just really at that point, it's about fine-tuning to make sure you stay on that track.
One area that...
And everybody gets off, right? Like everybody gets
For sure.
off the
off
track, right? You know, and
it's vacation. You're not in charge of your food anymore, and
yeah, exactly, right? So
great, let's get you back on track.
Yep. And I'm typically not that guilty of it, but I've been guilty of it since we got back from Hawaii, basically. And so it's a reset, right? Like,
yes,
I'm doing a reset. We've got a nice Young Living Whole reset 14-day program that we're doing, and it's all Young Living wide, and it's a pretty big deal. They've been working on it for a year, kind of as a test, and they wanted to get the testimonials and all of that to prepare for the launch of it. But it's just what you talked about, getting the right amount of water, right? Moving your body 30 minutes a day, however that needs to be moved for you. There was one gal that had a testimonial that she had hurt her back and she couldn't do a lot of exercising. So really all she did for 2 minutes at a time was lift her legs in her chair and got her 30 minutes in. And it's a certain amount of the Ningxia Red, which comes from a blue zone. Young Living's the only company that has that particular wolfberry, and there's science backed behind that with inflammation reduction results, less stress, better sleep. So they've been working on all that to prepare that. And then you pick your food plan. Do you like paleo? Do you like whole food or Whole30? Do you like keto? Like whatever it is. And so there's been just amazing results. And yes, it has something to do with weight, but most people are doing it for, inflammation and things like that.
Correct.
Because we get off track.
Correct.
Right? Like everybody gets off track, but it is that preventative thing.
But
right?
in my mind, if you already know you have inflammation, if you already have a weight issue, if you already, you are off track, that is a symptom of something going on. Therefore, it's not preventative anymore.
Right.
We're fixing the problem that's happening in your body.
Right.
If you're not sleeping right, that's a problem. That's not a let's prevent and make it.
Yes, that's the something's off kilter. Let's find out exactly what it is. And don't just give me a sleeping pill.
Correct.
To be able.
People don't understand that the tiny symptoms are going to get bigger.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So come in when there's a tiny symptom.
It's on simmer.
Right.
Right? And it's just going to simmer, and then you're going to boil.
It's only going to get worse.
Yeah. Right.
Because you didn't make any change to fix it.
Yep.
So we talked about inflammation, and that seems to be kind of a buzzword that
a little bit.
that tends to get thrown out there as it's almost like a panacea. I mean, it's just like, oh, well, you've got some inflammation. We got to take care of the inflammation. What on earth is that? What is inflammation, for one thing? And how would I know? Like this morning, I told Sheila, I said, I was looking at myself in the mirror and said, I think I got some inflammation.
Right around the middle section? No. Looks a lot like a spare tire.
Yeah. So we talk about inflammation, but I put my ring on. I said, geez, my hands are puffy.
Right.
For some reason.
Right.
So is that inflammation, or is that just I have a little extra water because I had salt yesterday?
It could be either one.
Okay.
It could be fluid retention.
From what you ate yesterday.
Right.
Or
Correct. It depends. Does it happen regularly?
Mm-hmm.
All the time, or is it just this is weird, it's never happened before?
Yeah, usually my rings are falling off. So
correct.
Okay, so then how would I know if I mean, you've got a serious inflammation problem. What kind of symptoms do I know?
So I think there's different kinds of inflammation. Your thyroid regulates the rate of oxidative stress within your body. That's one of the inflammatory regulators. You can have cellular inflammation, which doesn't really relate to like a puffy joint. A puffy joint is more tissue inflammation or injury, right?
All right.
So those are two different things. You have to determine what kind of inflammation we're talking about. Cellular inflammation is happening on the cell level, and the cell doesn't transport nutrients in and out properly when it's inflamed. It doesn't methylate properly when it's inflamed.
So how would I know if I have that? I haven't been injured. I didn't do anything that would, I don't have a hurting elbow or anything like that. How would I know then? Do I have inflammation, number one? And what kinds of things would I do from a lifestyle standpoint that would prevent it?
So how do you prevent it? Let's go there first, because I think a lot of people are like, well, I don't know if I have it or not, but let's find out. Let's fix it anyway.
Let's pretend I don't have it and we'll prevent it.
Correct. So, I mean, it goes back, again, to the foundations, right? But part of that foundation is going through the body's natural detoxification cycles, because sometimes it's chemicals that are blocking are affecting our inflammatory responses. Sometimes it's emotions that are blocking our inflammatory responses. Sometimes it's poor diet, just the wrong kind. Sometimes it's blood sugar instability. Sometimes it's trauma. Sometimes it's right? There can be a million reasons why the body would trigger something called nuclear factor kappa beta, which is the cellular expression of inflammation.
And then so then how do you unwind it?
Right. You have to remove all of those things. You have to keep your emotions balanced. And that doesn't mean you're never happy or sad or angry or frustrated. It means you really have effective coping skills to handle those things, because we have a very, very stressful life here in the United States. I would love to say we don't. We're very privileged in many, many ways.
Yes.
And our lives are stressful in a different kind of way.
Explain that to me, because I look at it the other way. I say, we live in such a privileged life that what kind of stress could you possibly... Some people around the world are trying to get bread.
Correct.
They're trying to get, they're eating bugs.
Right. So if you go to the blue zones and you look at what those people are doing every day, they're working hard.
That would stress me out.
Yeah, hard work is a stressor for Sheila,
right?
Definitely.
Right? I get it. But there's one group, it's an island off the coast of Italy, and it's not Santorini, but I can't remember what the coast is. And they're sheep herders, and they're working all day long.
Yeah.
But they're in nature. They're they're watching the
they're
sky.
Grounding. They're breathing good air. They're
right. I mean, so you can sciencey the whole thing.
Yeah.
But reality is they're living close to the earth. They have a daily routine. They have a really good schedule. It's predictable. Things are just easy. They don't have social media. They don't have television. They don't have Wi-Fi. They don't have any of those things that are actually causing a lot of physical stress.
Because people think that they need to...
Fast food, chemicals in their... they don't have all of that.
Yeah, go. Keeping up with the Joneses.
Keeping up with the Joneses. Having things that they don't need.
Correct.
Correct. Someone convinces them that they need them.
The consumer culture, and how am I going to afford that? I mean, I know we don't think it consciously, but we behave that way, therefore we must be thinking it.
So some of the things that one could do to alleviate some of that is garden.
Absolutely.
Just...
Love it.
Start gardening and go out there and pull some weeds. And there's a famous book out that's been around for a long time. Chop Wood and Carry Water, I think, is the name of it.
I do think you can garden your way to health. I really do.
Not only the food that you get is going to be better,
right,
but just the physical activity.
Right, you're squatting and bending and moving and reaching and carrying and pulling, and I think it's amazing.
I was concerned about Sheila's health recently, so I told her I was full concern. It was an unselfish concern of mine. So I wanted her to go out and wash my car and detail my wheels on my car.
Yeah, right, okay.
Would have that squatting and bending and reaching and all that stuff. She didn't buy into that too much.
I didn't.
Sleep is such a big part of it too. How much sleep do you think that we actually need? Now, we've sold the restaurant it's just over a year.
Yep.
And since that time, I have noticed, And part of it is the real estate market had slowed way down too. So the demand isn't there for the activity. But I've noticed that I sleep more than I ever have. I think.
Are you getting older?
Well, I don't know if that matters. But I just noticed that but it was so sudden. And so I know it's just I know it's a reflection of or a result of this activity being gone. I don't have the excitement, the energy, the demand on it. So it's like, okay.
But you don't have the stress.
The pressure.
Right? So you don't have the stress and the pressure of that anymore. So your body can finally relax inside and get the sleep that you need.
I mean, I slept a good solid 5 hours last night. I mean, it's just... All right, we got to go out to break. And we come back, I want to talk about food plans because you mentioned it. And
I mentioned
I want to tell you the
Sheila
secret to sleep.
Okay. All right, we'll finish up with Secret to Sleep.
Oh, that's a good tagline, Secret to Sleep.
You want to find out how to sleep well? Come back in the next segment. This is
One
Our
thing.
Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com, 651-775-9194. We talk about the 4 pillars of a healthy home, and we are talking about all of them today. We'll be right back after these messages. Hey, welcome back to the program. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com, 651-775-9194. Say, if you got that tire around your belly, you look like the Michelin Man, and you want to get rid of it, there's a reason.
Glad you said man.
There's a reason
Right.
that's there. And if you go to ourhealthyhomes.com, there's a button up in the upper right-hand corner. It's pink.
It's pink.
Click on the button. It'll take you to a little information page there. You can read about it, and if you have an interest in finding out more, fill out the form, and Sheila will reach out to you, and we'll get that. You can get that gone. It's easy. It's guaranteed 100%. All you gotta do is what you're told, and you'll be super duper.
And you can have a guide. You can have a free consultation. So why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you is right.
Right.
And if you decide to move forward, just mention the radio show. We'll give you $100 off on the onboarding part of that program. So that's a very good deal too. $100 off if you sign up today. Mention the radio show. All right. Let's talk about sleep. You said you got the secret, the magic pill, the magic bullet, the secret formula for sleep. What would that be?
All sleep problems are blood sugar issues.
Ah, interesting.
All sleep problems are blood sugar issues.
So explain that further.
So your brain, your hypothalamus in your brain is constantly sampling the blood supply.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And it's looking for all of the hormone levels. It's looking for all the signals, but it's also measuring the glucose level in your blood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And if it says, I don't have enough glucose to function for the next few hours, if I don't have enough, nobody else does either. So it's going to signal your adrenals to release some cortisol, release some adrenaline, depends on what resource you have available.
Okay.
Okay, now you're not sleeping. Your blood sugar is too low. It's not about high blood sugar. Your blood sugar is too low. It has dropped. And your body a little bit goes into a fight or flight mode. So now you're pushing cortisol, you're pushing adrenaline, all those things that your body will respond to, but it's making more stress.
So then what about it? What about the whole intermittent fasting thing? Because if you stop eating at
fat adapted. If your body is fat adapted, you will flip to burn fat into glucose, to switch
what's fat adapted?
It means your body can burn your fat as fuel.
Well, if you have
That's what
fat,
you
why
want.
couldn't
But
it?
not everybody's is. Not everybody's body is fat adapted.
Okay,
Because they haven't fasted long enough. I mean, your body will go that way if you just deprive it of sugar, easy sugar, long enough. It will flip. It will switch. 'Cause
Eventually.
That's our body's.
But it takes, for some people, their fat metabolism pathway is blocked. Chemicals and stress. Right? So we need to get the fat metabolism pathway switched over so that they can go back and forth. They may be completely insulin resistant. They may be not metabolically flexible. There's a lot of things, but it all comes back to blood sugar. If you can stabilize your blood sugar during the day, and that I do mean stabilize, right?
Yeah,
I don't
right,
mean,
exactly.
I don't mean increase it necessarily.
Right.
If you can stabilize your blood sugar during the day, you're going to have enough fuel for your brain to function all night long.
Which then
Lets you sleep.
equals, yeah, but then which equals keeping that stabilized is what are your food choices that you're eating during the day to
Correct.
keep that stabilized.
Correct.
right? Because if
Yep.
you're eating the donut and the high glycemic bagel and the this, that, and the other thing, I mean, that's not stabilizing.
No, not at all.
Right.
And that eating 6 times a day is just spiking your blood sugar 6
Yeah.
times a day, right? And I don't mind eating 6 times a day, but it's got to be the right combination of food. You have to have enough protein in there, right? It's about trickling the sugars into the bloodstream, not flooding the system by drinking juice or soda.
So couldn't you just alleviate
Or the
that whole
coffee
thing
drink.
by a bowl of ice cream before you go to bed at night?
Yes. Why do you think people drink alcohol at bedtime? It helps them relax to go to sleep. No, it spikes your blood sugar so you can go to sleep. Yes, ice cream at bedtime. Yeah, right? That's not a healthy choice, but it does short-term solve the problem. A shot glass of juice will do the same thing. It'll get your blood sugar up just enough so you can go to sleep.
So
So
how
wait,
does
wait,
that-
wait.
No, the problem is, though, with doing it that way, is that you're going to metabolize that very quickly. 3 to 4 hours later, you're going to be awake again because
gonna
now
wake
your
up.
blood sugar crashed.
I woke up at 2 o'clock. I couldn't get back to sleep.
Correct. So the long-term result is we need to stabilize it through the day so you can get through the night.
So, okay, I go to bed at 10:30 typically. If I wanted to test my blood sugar, prick my finger at 10:30, what should it be so that I don't go into low?
Stable blood sugar
Stable.
is 80. 80.
80?
Always. 80, whether you're
my-
fasting, whether you're not fasting, whether you've eaten 10 minutes before, whether you haven't eaten in 17 hours. 80.
Ooh,
I haven't had 80 in
I haven't had 80. Well, I haven't
I
had
have
80
it-
in a while.
80. You know, I have 80. So I just finished last week. I fasted for 5 days. So probably on the 5th day it was 80. On the first day it was probably 110.
Right.
And that's my norm. That's like
I
my
hover
norm.
around 90. That's where I hover. I mean,
Right,
which isn't
right.
terrible.
Yeah.
It's not. It's
Right.
not. But the
But when it gets to typically, convention, Western, whatever, they wait till you get to
Right.
the 100 and the 150 and the 200.
Correct.
And now they have to get it down. So let's
I need
do,
me some
do the,
metformin or something.
right. to
if
do
you're
the
if
pill
you're
thing.
hovering around 100,
You-
that tells
yeah.
me that you're insulin resistant and you're not metabolically flexible.
Metabolically flexible.
There you go. There's your new word.
That is my new word.
Not
so,
modalities,
so for
but
me,
metabolic.
For me,
right?
like when I fast, I enjoy fasting.
Yeah.
So when I fast, the first 48 hours, the first 24 hours is miserable.
Yes.
Then the first 48 hours, the second day, is almost as bad, but not quite.
Correct.
And by the end of the second day, I'm kind of like, okay,
Right.
I'm
okay,
not
correct.
feeling this
Okay,
way.
so you want to talk about length of fasting and what's
Yeah.
happening there?
Yeah.
So at 17 hours of fasting, your body does something called autophagy. And it's basically a cellular cleanup. It's like, okay, we're not getting food. We're not going to get food. We need to make sure we survive,
Right.
right? So let's start cleaning some stuff up.
Right. We'll go to the garbage bins and
Correct.
see what's still
Scavenge. We're going to scavenge.
Yep.
So at 24 hours of fasting, your body will turn on the fat burning switch because now it's like, okay, we're really not getting food. I need to start using our reserves, which is your fat stores, right? At 36 hours, that's when you start burning through all of the glucose and the insulin resistance from the body. That's why you start feeling better about that point. If you go to 72 hours, you stimulate your own body stem cells.
good. Okay.
That's
What's
why
that do?
repairs everything.
Okay.
The body's like, I need to make sure we survive. I'm going to fix all the garbage. I am going to repair all the muscles. I'm going to clear out any dead cells that shouldn't be there. And you can read into that whatever you want.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That happens at 72 hours of 0 calories. And it's not 200 calories, it's 0.
And,
So
coffee is 0.
Correct.
Yes. Unless you put a bunch of stuff in.
Right.
So it's
Because
interesting
you
because
usually do water and coffee.
just water and coffee.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I even stopped this last time because normally I'll continue to take my vitamins. So this time I look on the thing, on the package, and I see, oh, that one's got 15 calories
Right.
for a
Your
serving.
vitamins.
Yeah. And
Right.
then this one has 10 calories and this one has 8 calories. And even like the Ningxia is whatever it is, 15 calories.
15.
15 calories. And by the time I added it all up,
It's a couple hundred.
it wasn't a couple, but it was 100.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's enough to break a fast.
Correct.
Yeah, because isn't it 50 calories that breaks the fast?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, there are a couple tricks. If you want to know those tricks, come on into my office and I'll share
Yeah.
those with you, because there are some technical ways around that, but essentially it's 0 calories. But remember, 17 hours is dinner one night through lunch the next day.
Yeah, it's nothing.
That's not
Yeah,
hard.
right.
Now, if you are very insulin resistant, if you have very flexible blood sugar, that's not a good thing. It's going to be hard. It is. And we have to work up to that. But 24 hours is dinner one night to dinner the next day.
Yeah.
Right? That's not crazy when
That's
you
my
think
normal,
about it.
my normal eating cycle.
Right. That's not crazy when you think about it.
Yeah. So fasting and I feel great on the 3rd day, the 4th day, the 5th day.
Yep.
By the 5th day, you know what it is? I want to chew something.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I want
Yeah.
popcorn. Give me some popcorn.
Well-
Give me something to chew.
Yeah, and we're in a society of, right? How many times have we been told to eat 6 times a day? And everybody's got the bag of chips and all the stuff in
Fun fact for you.
in the cupboard, right? They just don't pay attention. We just don't pay attention to what we're feeding ourselves. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. I mean, it's how many times are you putting things in your mouth that you're not thinking about. And Keith and I are big believers of cleansing. I mean, we cleanse every quarter. We live in this world as chemical free. I don't use dryer sheets, oven cleaners. Like,
Still a dirty world.
It's still a dirty, yes. And so you still have to clean it up, and it's just a process that you get used to. So let's just step into it once and see what you feel like.
So, do you want to know where the phrase breakfast is the most important meal of the day came from?
Kellogg's.
It was a marketing slogan from Kellogg's in
Yep.
the 50s.
Yep.
Yeah.
People didn't eat breakfast before that. They wanted to sell more cornflakes.
Right.
Yep. Which, oh boy, don't get us started on the cornflakes and the pesticides and the herbicides and the glyphosate and how that's ripping up your gut. And,
Right?
Like it's just all of the things that start to snowball. Now, I don't mean to say that to overwhelm
But people
you.
take that phrase as medical advice.
Yes,
Breakfast is it's
yes.
not, it's a marketing slogan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Winston's tastes good like a cigarette should. That's another marketing slogan.
Right?
So we,
Wow.
so
Way to pull that one out of your
Marlboro-
head.
Yeah, Winston cigarettes, Marlboro Man.
I don't know what
Okay.
my Vantage 100 commercial was when I smoked, so sorry.
So, and if you look at when we're more agrarian, you got up in the morning, you did chores.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you fed the animals, you watered the animals, you cleaned the barns, you did all that stuff. Then you came in for a morning meal. Well, you'd already been probably working for 2 hours.
Right.
At least,
You
yeah.
know,
right.
Yeah.
by the time that happened.
and the lung cancer, the new cancers, like all of that's sitting, right? Sitting's the new cancer, right? Because we're just not moving.
Okay, we got to run out, pay some bills. We'll be right back after these messages. Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. With Dr. Melissa Olson in the studio. We went out, last segment, we talked the whole segment about sleep, and you said that sleep was a blood sugar issue.
Correct.
Well, how does emotions tie into that?
Right,
then?
that's what I was gonna
Because
ask.
what if, I just found out that, my mom has cancer and she's going to kick the bucket
Right.
or my business is in problems
Right.
or I'm going to get a divorce. I'm tossing and turning. I can't sleep.
Right. So,
Are you trying to tell me something?
I'm just sending a letter.
anxiety, panic attacks are often blood sugar related.
Mm.
Okay? Because your blood sugar drops, your body panics.
Okay.
Okay? So that feeling that
It's a manifestation of
it is
what's
a
going on.
biochemical response. It's not an emotional response.
Interesting.
So let's talk about what happens when the emotional response actually happens first, right?
Okay.
A shock, an
Mhm.
accident, a trauma of some
Right.
kind. So your body releases glucocorticosteroids, which are basically glucose in the system. It's the same thing that your brain triggers when it doesn't have enough sugar to get through the night.
Mhm.
It will trigger that.
Okay.
Those glucocorticosteroids dysregulate your blood sugar. They will spike it or drop it.
So, what?
So yes,
What-
there's a very strong correlation between your
Okay.
emotions and your blood sugar stability.
What in the medical world? What do they give for that? Don't they get? I mean, do you know what the certain prescription or drug?
Gabapentin,
Okay.
Ativan,
Okay.
Lexapro.
Just so that some of these people like know if they're taking some of these things from the doctor,
right?
That's what they're taking it for, which we can help get you
manage,
off of that,
right?
and
because they don't always work 100%, and if they don't work 100%, that's fine. It doesn't mean it's not a tool, but let's get it to work 100%, or let's work on the underlying cause.
Right, get to the root problem so that you don't have to be on these medications.
So much.
And, we talk about sick care and the cost. Do you want to pay for it now? Do you want to pay for it later? That kind of thing. I mean, I can't imagine that these prescriptions are, like, they have to keep going up, right? I mean, they can't. Like
all that cost is going to just continue to go up because,
right.
first of all, then you get into the politics of it and the financial side of it. And these companies are in there for one and only one purpose, and that is to make money for their shareholders. That's their job to do. So they're going to create products.
And insurance companies are not in it for you either.
No, they're a conduit. The more people that use the insurance, because they get a little taste off of everything that flows through, so it's just
the higher the prices can be, because insurance will cover it. It doesn't matter if it goes up $5, $10. Insurance is part of the problem.
But then the insurance will go up, right?
Sure, eventually.
Yeah, exactly. So the point of it is that
you got to opt out of the system somewhere, somehow.
Yes. And if it's cheaper on the prescription side, the insurance is going to be high. It's
right. It's going to cost you one way or the other.
Exactly. They're going to put it somewhere.
Okay, so Sheila mentioned a couple of segments ago for the food plans in her NINCSA challenge, in her restart, or what's it called?
14-day reset.
14-day reset. Yep. And by the way, you get 20% off if you order now and use what's the promo code?
ShareYL.
ShareYL. Order now. There'll be a link in the thing, easy enough to do unless you've never seen a computer in your life, which is not most people. Click on the link and it'll just take you right there. And then just use the promo code ShareYL. Write it down. ShareY, the letter Y, L, the letter L. Easy. Get 20% off. That's going away, so get on it. Okay, so let's talk about food plans. So there was I love this conversation because there's so many different, everybody's got the bright shiny object and do this and do that, and
there is no right answer.
There isn't.
No.
So I was watching yesterday. I couldn't believe it. There's a bodybuilder, and he's saying all these food plans are all a bunch of baloney. He said you need 2,500 calories a day. If you eat more than 2,500 calories a day, you're going to gain weight. If you eat less than 2,500 calories a day, you're going to lose weight. Calories in, calories out, that old argument. He said it doesn't matter. It could be all donuts. It doesn't matter. The problem is if it's all donuts, of course, you're going to get hungry quicker. But if you just stick to it and say, I'm eating 2,500 calories in donuts and I'm going to pump my iron and do whatever it is, that's what it is. And then the other guys say, "Oh no, that's not right. You've got to eat. You got to have so many, macros of this and macro, and they're counting the macros and all that." And then someone else says, "Carnivore, forget about it. Just eat meat." And that's kind of my deal. I eat meat, cheese, and eggs
most of the time.
90% of the time. Just because my.
But you like it too.
Yeah, I like it. My cheat is a pickle. Or a pickle or something.
So we can blow the calories in, calories out of the water right away.
Okay, how's that?
Okay, your microbiome. All right. If you have a very diverse microbiome, right, more bacteria, the correct kinds, lots of different strains, right, the more diverse your microbiome is, the fewer calories your body will get out of the food you eat.
Say that again.
Okay. The more diverse your microbiome.
So diverse microbiome, good.
Yes.
Okay.
Not eating the same thing all the time.
The fewer calories your body will get out of your food.
Well, that's not very efficient then.
It's not about calories in, calories out then, is it?
Well, no, because now from an efficiency, from a survival standpoint, if I'm out in the woods and I only have a few things, I have a limited amount of food I can gather, then it's like, well, I don't want a diverse microbiome because I don't want to I have to eat more now.
You talked a little while ago about when you were working at garden centers.
Uh-huh.
That's one of the most diverse microbiome environments you can be in.
Because of all the chemicals we were spraying on the
Because
plants
of
and
all
stuff?
the
minus
weed
that.
killers and
microbes in the dirt.
okay.
That's part of your microbiome, right? Your microbiome is your skin,
All right.
your sinuses, your lungs, your gut, right? The whole microbiome. Now, the less diverse your microbiome,
You
okay,
eat the same thing all the time.
or you've had a number of rounds of antibiotics.
Oh,
one
right.
round of antibiotics can destroy 90% of your microbiome. Okay, Americans have the worst microbiomes
Oh,
ever.
and
That means our bodies are going to pull more calories out of the same food. Right?
Okay, yeah.
You consume 100 calories in food, your body's going to get 90 of those if you have a very small microbiome. If you have a very large microbiome, you're going to consume 100 calories in food, and your body's going to get 40 of them. And it's that big a difference. You wonder why some people can eat and eat and eat,
Yes.
and eat and never gain weight.
yes, can't stand those people.
I mean, there's a couple of
Or,
reasons,
or
but that's
like
the biggest
people
one.
go to Europe where the food is better,
And we can
they,
eat
and they
anything.
eat like a horse, and they come back. I would just
I lost
talk to
5
someone.
pounds.
Yes, they came
And I
back
ate
and they
pasta the
lost.
whole
I've
time.
done it.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. So, calories in, calories out is not a thing.
Not valid.
Okay, so then
Correct.
what about these other food plans? The whole
Full 30, the keto, the
Yeah.
paleo.
Sure. The carnivore, the
Yeah.
the hunter gatherer, I mean,
Yeah.
the
Plant-based,
anti-inflammatory
lion
one. Okay, so they all have their niche. They all have their place. I want you to be metabolically flexible so that you can take advantage of any plan that you have access to.
Okay.
Okay. Some of it is about blood type. O blood types tend to have more stomach acid and can process the more dense animal meats better.
Okay.
It doesn't. So they're gonna handle keto better. They're going
Handle it better. Might not
Right.
be their preferred diet, but they can
correct.
handle
Their
it.
body can do it.
Okay.
Right? It's built to do it. Now they can have things like their fat metabolism pathways a little blocked or whatever. There are some kinks to that, but they can do it. Now, if you're an A blood type, I'd prefer that you stick with more of a Whole 30, well-rounded. Let's do.
Your A is so it's total opposite.
I'm AB.
I know.
Oh, your AB.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're the most flexible. They really can do just about anything.
There you go. That's me.
So
Flexible
one is
teeth.
better vegetarian-ish, one is better keto-ish, and the others are way more flexible than both.
Okay, so then the cooked versus raw argument.
Yeah.
My sister
Ooh.
eats raw.
Okay, good for her.
Yeah, well, good for her.
No,
right.
like
I mean,
raw
it's
chicken.
like raw chicken. I mean, she eats raw meat, everything is raw. Now she'll take it and she'll season it and toss it in oil and all that kind of stuff. Let it marinate like
Sure.
you would a steak before you
Sure.
grill it. But then she just eats it. Just doesn't
Sure.
actually grill it. And that's no different. I suppose it's not a lot different than eating rare.
Steak tartare,
Yeah,
sushi,
yeah.
right? So I would not trust our current food supply and
yes.
do that,
Yes, right.
but in theory, I don't have a problem with it. When they do allergy testing, they test raw food.
Mm.
And it's different than cooked food. It has different proteins.
Sure.
Your proteins are changed when they're cooked. So if you're going to do allergy testing, you better be testing both raw and cooked.
No way.
I can't believe we're out of time already.
Good conversation.
This is Our Healthy Homes.
Check out the links.
Dr. Melissa Olson,
VibrantWellCare.net.
vibrantwellcare.net.
OurHealthyHomes.com.
We come in and I have just a kind of a vague notion of what we're going to talk about, and we fill up the entire hour. It's like, oh my
We
God.
do.
the
It's
show's
crazy.
over already. We'll see you next week.
But when he calls me sugar, I love that man with all my might. Sugar in the morning, sugar in the afternoon. Sugar after dinner, sugar in every room. He says I'm sweet as I can be. When he calls me that name, it does things to me. I tell him, honey, you can call